Today we're going to be going over my remote closing / high ticket sales free course, and this is a resource that I actually put together a while back around the start of this YouTube channel to be able to give you guys information in a step-by-step process to be able to do exactly obviously what I even talk about on this channel in the first place, which is remote sales, high ticket closing, remote closing, etc., whatever you want to call it. And I know you've probably seen a lot of these different types of documents going around. A lot of people use them as lead magnets or things to get people interested in what they are selling on top of the resource that they're already giving you so that they'll be able to get money at the end of the day. But newsflash, I don't sell a sales training course. I just want you guys to learn how to get into remote sales because I operate a platform that helps place experienced individuals on offers. So if you go out and go get experience, you could be fulfilling and helping my clients make money one day. On top of that, these documents are usually very surface level. They just basically reiterate someone else's YouTube video or maybe a sales book or something else like that in that same sphere. But these resources are things that I actually created and would use in tandem with my own experience to help support and fulfill for sales agency clients, for mentee students of mine that I had a small handful of way back in the day, as well as clientele that I was doing consulting work for. They needed some help with either their sales pipeline, process, or just ideology and learn how to be able to ask someone for money. And so these are resources that I've genuinely used to generate me a lot of money, not just something I slap together and I'm hoping to pawn off to you for you to be able to pay me for it later on. Something that me and my friends firmly believe in, who all do different types of ways of making money in the online space, is that if you do enough research into something, you can be an expert at anything. And that goes all the way from like learning a language, learning to code, learning how to write better, anything. If you simply go through enough resources, whether that's on the internet, whether that's on Wikipedia, YouTube rabbit hole, whatever, you can become an expert in anything. But one of the issues with that, especially also for this space now, is a lot of people are creating a lot of different types of content in this specific realm of remote closing and high ticket sales. And so one of the things that I like about what I'm about to give you here is that I categorize everything in the exact steps that you need to go through it, the reasons I put it in each step, and why exactly you're doing it in the first place. You're basically getting all the information I had and needed to be able to learn how to do this and make money remote closing, but it's already laid out for you in an actionable plan A to Z, so you're welcome. This is by no matter of any stretch of the imagination a get rich quick thing. So if you're looking to start something like this and be making money basically next month, I implore you to click off of this video and just go fill out a job application, because as I've talked about in preface in prior videos, it took me like a year and a half for me and my buddy who got into this thing initially with no experience to be able to be making any sort of living wage doing this type of thing. Now, there's ways to circumvent that and go faster than that, but we truly took this school of hard knocks and it took us a while to be able to kind of have anything to show for the fruits of our labor. And so if you're looking for get rich quick, be gone. And I've also been very, very blessed for some of my prior videos to have gotten a lot of views, especially my first one. And so with that being said, this resource has been around for a while. I've covered it in another video, and I've been fortunate enough, because I've gotten so many views on these, to also be able to go as far as collect testimonials from people who got what I'm about to give you here, and that's going to be the link in the description here that you can go along with me step by step as I walk you through it, and gotten testimonials from people who have actually taken this advice, gone out, landed their first offers, or simply put, started making more money at their prior occupation, obviously sales related, and started closing more deals and making more commissions because of this resource. So without further ado, I really want to cover what exactly I am even talking about before getting into the course. If you already know what high ticket sales or remote closing is, skip past this part into where I actually start talking about things. But for you who are new here, high ticket sales and remote closing, what is it? So being in this space, you're going to be doing one of two types of job opportunities here. The first one is going to be taking calls that are booked to a calendar of yours or to a clientele's calendar that they share with you. And you're going to be in charge of either calling these people at the time that is selected on the calendar for your meeting with them, or you're going to be popping on something like a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet or whatever the invite says the meeting, wherever it says that the meeting's going to be taking place, hopping on there, closing these people by getting them confident enough in the product or the service that this company offers that you're selling for, and collecting payment over the phone. If you aren't able to collect payment, following up with them and making sure that they do eventually pay this company. Managing a CRM, which is basically just a database of all the contacts of the people who have booked calls or shown interest in this product. And this is going to be what's being called a deal closer or a remote closing. One of the reasons people really like this type of job is because A, completely remote. You don't need to go into a job. You don't need to go in a brick and mortar shop. You don't have to sit in a cubicle. You don't have to deal with a lot of the nonsense that people with actual brick and mortar companies and sales teams do have to deal with. On top of that, you're not responsible for anything that happens prior to that call. You're not responsible for the marketing. You're not responsible for the sales systems and pipeline that gets that person interested and then booking on your calendar. All you have to do is close the deal, which is why it is called deal closer. And on the other side of that, or prior to that call getting booked, there is another job opportunity that takes place there. And the scope of work for this type of opportunity is going to be a mixture of either managing individuals and contacts that get collected via something like, let's say there's a paid advertisement for whatever it is that your company's selling. The people who see the advertisement, who are interested in it, will then fill out some sort of intake form, put down their name, their phone number, their email, anything extra that the person's asking for, and then you'll either be emailing, reaching out to these people via phone, and then whatever form of like messaging or however you're contacting them, whether it's DMs, whether it's email, you'll be responsible for talking with these people, seeing why maybe exactly they like the product and what kind of situation they're in, and if they would be qualified to even work with the company that you're working for. And then your sole job is to get them booked onto a call. On the other hand, you could also be following some sort of proven process that the business already has put in place for reaching out to people on different platforms, maybe different social medias, maybe just through email, if these people are in a certain business niche, or you think they might be interested in this type of thing, and going through and contacting people via cold calling them. They don't know who you are. You're introducing yourself. You're asking basically for 30 seconds of their time, seeing if their company could use what exactly it is that you're selling, and then if so, getting that person still, again, booked onto the calendar. And then whether you're getting warm inbound leads and talking to people who already said that they were interested in this type of thing, or you're reaching out and trying to find people who would be interested in this type of thing. Your sole job as a remote appointment setter or sales development representative is going to be booking these people onto those calls that the closers are taking. So the two types of opportunities you're going to be doing in remote closing and high ticket sales is going to be either a remote closer, just responsible basically for collecting money and taking the call, which sounds easy enough, but promise you it's not. Or a remote appointment setting, or being a sales development representative, which is going to be the prior half. It's going to take place a little bit after marketing, or if you're just doing cold outbound and reaching out to people who've never heard of your business before, you are basically the marketing of the company. So now we know what a remote closer is, what a remote appointment setter is, what high ticket sales is. And high ticket sales, I know I didn't cover that in the explanation, is just selling things that are higher ticket. A lot of people argue of what exactly is high ticket. It's anything that you're going to get pretty good margins on. I personally consider anything over 2K a high ticket deal. I know there's a lot higher ticket deals than that. I can already hear a bunch of tech guys laughing at me for even having said that. But in the online space for online digital products and services, that's the point where these individuals could work commission only, as long as they are getting anywhere between 20-40 calls per week booked onto their calendar with maybe, let's say, standard 20% closing rate. At that point, with that price point, 10 to 30% commission rate, these guys are going to be able to earn $5,000 to $10,000 per month. So that's why I consider that high ticket. So that's what high ticket is. Now we know what all this is. How do we go about learning it? So before we go any further, I want you to click the link that's going to be right down there in the bio. I want you to open it in another tab. If you're on your phone right now, then that kind of sucks. Maybe watch this on a desktop, you'll get over it, but I can still explain everything that's going to be going on in there, and then you'll be able to refer to it later and go through it on your own time, save it, star it, whatever you're going to do, email it to yourself, send it to your grandma, I don't care, but just make sure you're reviewing that either with me or you're going to be going through that after the video, and I'm going to explain why every part is important and what exactly to do there. All right, so going back to one of my initial points, you can learn anything by simply watching or absorbing or reading, looking up a certain amount of information about it, right? If you just consistently intake whatever that is, in our case, remote closing and high ticket sales, you're eventually gonna learn and become fairly fluent in what exactly that is, right? And so this first resource that's going to be on my resource, I know I didn't go ahead and shoot all these videos myself. This is going to be a compilation of all the different YouTube videos that personally helped me the most when I didn't know anything in regards to how to do sales in the first place. I didn't personally make these videos, but I put them all together in a nice little list for you and kind of talked about on the side what exactly these people did for me, why I'm watching these in the first place, and kind of a little bit about them. So I put them all right here so that you don't have to wade through things such as like even finding this video in the first place. Maybe you were looking up different stuff about high ticket sales and remote closing. You found a couple weird guys talking about gibberish. This is all put in a line for you to explicitly learn how to do sales. You gotta go nuts with it. And to draw emphasis on why exactly this resource is important, I'm going to tell a brief story about when I first started remote closing and high ticket sales. And so when I was brought on to my first offer, all I had really done for work up until that was be a lifeguard at a water park and be in guest relations at Topgolf. And so I'd never really gone through the process of actually ever asking someone for money unless my buddy lost a bet to me. And so when I first started sales, I was so uncomfortable for even just asking someone to pay me for what they wanted. This got to the point where the only reason I was really being able to make sales in the first place was because I would go through whatever it was I was selling like 2 to 3 times, whether it's a course, whether it's some sort of agency product, whatever. I would become so fluent and knowing what it is that I'm selling and what it takes to be successful with it, that I would be able to answer any question that I would ever get. And so that would get me a lot of lie downs or people who basically are just ready to pay because I seemed like an expert and I was just so knowledgeable. But when it came to actually collecting payment, I would, for lack of better terms, like blow out my Huggies and basically blow up the sale because I just wasn't comfortable actually asking someone for money. It actually took me about like 6 months into my first few offers to be able to realize that there was any sort of almost like a skill ceiling or a way to become better at sales. I don't know why this never just like clicked with me because I played like sports when I was a kid. Obviously anything that you're learning in school, you put effort in, you can become good at it. I don't know why, I just didn't click with me initially, but it was actually when I was watching, as corny enough as this is, The Wolf of Wall Street, that I actually realized that there's a method to this madness. And I mean, 2 things. First of all, why are you getting like inspiration from that movie? Granted, as good as it is, not necessarily the best place to get inspiration from. Also, I was like 19, 18 at the time, so what am I doing waiting till that late to even watch that movie? All great questions, right? But because I did, I figured out that there was a way to actually get better at what this is, being remote closing, high ticket sales, whatever you want to call it. And so I went through YouTube and I went through a bunch of different videos from a bunch of different creators to learn actually how to be able to get more money from the calls that I was getting and basically be able to convert more leads. And so going back to the Wolf of Wall Street, one of the links, or a few of the links that I have in there, is actually going to be for Jordan Belfort's himself's YouTube channel. And there's 2 great resources here that I want to cover very briefly. One is going to be his Whiteboard Wednesdays. They did wonders for me, at least the ones that weren't full of fluff and weren't reiterated content, for learning on how to actually do sales. And 2 is going to be his live sales call that he has recorded. You look up live call or live sales call. This should be one of the first ones that pop up, but I already have a link for it right there. So just go ahead, use the document, click it. And that live sales call did a lot for me in the terms of how I would position myself when talking to individuals over the phone, whether it's just like posture and stuff, but also just like tonality and morality I would even be bringing to the calls in the first place. And I would actually use that video as a litmus test for my students back in the day to kind of see how far they had gotten. I would ask them after a few weeks of me going through and kind of showing them the ropes and explaining how sales works, I would show them that video and then ask them to share Google Doc with me after watching that video of all the annotations and notes that they made from going through that video, and then we would compare it with my notes. And not only would I break down what he said where and why that's important, I would be able to see what they're saying and how far along they are by what exactly they notice in the video, as well as all the movie references that I obviously have to point out. The other very important person on this list that I need to mention is going to be, I never learned how to pronounce his name, Paul DiMacrio, I don't know. Anyways, this guy saved my life because I was on a sales call once and I was talking with someone and he hit me with a good old spouse objection, basically saying, I need to talk to my wife and I'll get back to you. And so I remembered at one point I definitely, probably, for sure learned how to handle this, but for the life of me, it wasn't coming to me. And so basically I tucked my tail between my legs. I told the dude to have a great rest of your day and click the phone. So now pissed, I immediately go to YouTube and type in how handle spouse objection. And so one of the first things that pulled up was Paul DiMacrio talking about how exactly to do that. And the way that he broke it down was actually really, really good and gave me the basis for my own personal objection handling technique and guides that I actually put in this resource as well. And so shout out him. He did a lot for my sales process when it came to actually doing the sales call and how to kind of guide that. That was Belfort. When it comes to objection handling, that was him. Everyone else in between gave me different tidbits that I all put together and melded into my own personal remote closing high ticket sales knowledge. So now that we have the self-study out of the way, in comes the self-alignment. And I know neither of these resources are necessarily juicy or what you came here for. If you want the things that I personally made, bang, 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 they're going to be later on in the video. Go down also to the resource as well, and you can look at that stuff ahead of time and just listen to me in the background talk. But for this resource, this is going to be the goal sheet and how to actually set up your life and kind of manifest what exactly you want to be coming into this for. Like, why are you starting remote closing and high ticket sales in the first place? What is your goal? You don't really get in a car or any sort of vehicle without having a destination in mind, unless I guess you're just along for the ride. But if you just go for a joyride, you're going to be stuck back in your own driveway. So where are you really going with this? I have a training in there with a video as well and the document. I walk you perfectly through how exactly to do it. Help me out a lot. It's going to inspire you and help you to get to where you want to go to, obviously, and actually going to give you something to work for with implementing all the knowledge that I have presented before you and I'm going to be talking about for the rest of the video. All right, now we get to the super fun stuff. And so the first thing is going to be my master script. And this is a resource that I actually made about, I want to say either 3.5 to 4 years ago. And this resource I had actually made personally just for myself to like improve my sales knowledge and to be able to like write out all my thoughts onto a document of paper. And I just also so happened to have had an idea of creating some sort of resource at the time to help people out, but I wanted to put a lot more like TLDR, time, love, and dedication, whatever that, I forget what the acronym is, into this, so that it's not just like another Gumroad course or PDF that people are reading through. And so breaking this document down, I actually go through every single different part of the sales call, whether it's from the original introduction, whether it's to setting frame, whether it's discovery call, any sort of, whether it's B2C, B2B, how to change it, what different types of questions to be asking where, why I'm asking questions at certain parts, highlightation of certain phrases and certain things, the notes underneath them and asterisks, to be able to explain literally my entire thought process as I'm talking to someone over the phone or over Zoom for why I'm saying anything where. Very wise man once told me that sales call and sales conversation is literally like a game of chess. Everything that you say has to be deliberate. Everything that you do has to be intentional. And so this is going to be exactly what you should or could do, where and why you are doing it in the first place. And it's an amalgamation of all my sales knowledge and all my sales experience up to that point. Quick transition, because the last place I was just at got commandeered for this resource being the master script. I also recorded a video going over it entirely. I had a client that was selling a coaching program to help people be able to grow theirs. And so not a lot of them were very good at sales. He was helping more so in the marketing because he had a lot of experience from doing that, from growing social media pages and things of that nature. And so he was helping coaches who had a good profession, who were helping people either do kind of what they're doing, or maybe they're selling some sort of service, like maybe some sort of data marketing or whatever. He was helping them grow their social medias, but the thing is they weren't really good at sales. And so he asked for me to do a workshop on that. And so I actually completely go over this resource. I add extra things on top of it. I say maybe what at that point in my mind had changed about sales in regards to all the stuff that I have there. But that, I want to say it's like a 30 or 40 minute video, but you're basically going to be able to rehear verbal regurgitation of what you just read, of all the regurgitated thoughts, of all the amalgamation of all my sales knowledge up to that point. And I also have a bare bones version of that script and inside of there, so that you're going to be able to create a copy of that, not have all my annotations on top of it, and be able to edit it and turn it to the tune of whatever offer that you get getting into high ticket sales or remote closing, so that you'll be able to have not necessarily training wheels or a crutch, but something to be able to reference off of, so that you don't get strayed too much from the path of that the call needs to take for you to be able to close, and you're able to make sure that you're getting more paid in fulls more often. After that, we have a few more resources that are going to help round out your total remote closing and high ticket sales knowledge, as well as actually help you land opportunities to be able to utilize them in the first place. The first one of those is going to be my handling objections lead magnet that I made for a very, very old mentorship a while ago. And so inside of that resource, I go over some of the, I want to say 5 most basic and common objections that you're going to get doing remote closing and high ticket sales, and how exactly I would confront them, how I would go over them, and how I would overcome them so that I'm able to actually walk out of the call with money in my pocket. After that, I have a video going in depth on sales funnels, and I'm going to go more in depth right now on why that is important, because I know a lot of you guys are going to simply put overlook this part. When you first start reaching out to find opportunities, anyone's just going to look at you as an average Joe looking for a job, right? And so what I want you to do is I want you to go through this resource, learn exactly what it takes to make a good sales funnel, so that you can go through the new potential clientele of yours and be able to analyze whether A, they even have a good sales funnel, which is going to be able to tell you kind of how far along they are, as well as if they're even possibly making money and you'd be able to make money with them. But also it's going to be able to be a great conversation starter and be able to help you get your foot in the door. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that you're going to go through their funnel, you're going to offer advice. You're not going to tell them, hey, you're doing this wrong, or like, this is bad, or whatever, like the copy's bad, the video, you're not good in front of camera, whatever, stuff like that. You don't want to tell them basically that they're bad in any sense, because that's obviously going to bring a guard up, and they're going to say like, dude, you're literally here like asking me for a job. Why are you even telling me how to do something that I'm actively doing and actually making money with? You're making no fucking money, right? And so what I want you to do and approach it as is look for maybe things that they could add in or missing, or maybe things that you feel like maybe they could tweak a little bit one way. I wouldn't just say like something is bad, but say how you can make something better, or just offer advice on what they could do to be able to make more money. And if you come to them from that perspective with their best interest in mind to help them make more money, then you're going to be more of a friend and more of an associate there, instead of just someone like looking for a job opportunity. And they're also going to be able to tell that you've been around the block, you're familiar with this type of thing, and why wouldn't they give you a shot? Lastly, to end it off, I got possibly the most important resource for your high ticket sales and remote closing career, which is going to be how to get clients freemium guide. And so I have some videos and some links in there going over explicitly how to land these types of clients. And so first thing I want to say when it comes to landing clients, and especially if you're doing this outside of some sort of mentorship program and you're doing this through the School of Hard Knocks and just by yourself, volume is going to be your best friend. I know people who sent 20 DMs or 20 videos and they were able to land their first opportunity. I also personally know and have interviewed people who had to send anywhere from like 500 to 600 DMs to be able to get enough responses, to be able to land enough interviews, to be able to get their first interview. And so this works, not because I'm saying it works, not because I've done it before, not because everyone else has done it before, but because I have at the top of this document that you're on pictures of people explicitly doing this and landing their first opportunities and making their first money online through remote closing and high ticket sales by following this same exact method. So it works. It's gonna suck. You're gonna have to put effort in. I know, right? In this day and age, like actually having to work for $1, crazy call out. Anyways, with that being said, that's gonna be the most important resource outside of actually learning how to do it in the first place. But from there, I mean, we've covered everything from sales psychology, how to round yourself out as a person, how to be able to operate and go through a sales call, why you say stuff where, as well as what even a sales funnel looks like, how to handle objections and actually be able to collect payment, as well as a bunch of other resources so that this isn't the only video that you have to watch to be able to get perfect at sales, and you can go and self-study and make this a great opportunity for yourself to be able to make money in the next couple months. So with that being said, if you watch this long, I'm not sure why you're not subscribed. I'm not sure why you haven't liked the video. I'm not sure why you haven't commented, told me what your favorite color is, or the last 3 numbers on the back of your credit card. And so that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.